Hello everyone. I think I'm going to start. How are you? How are you guys doing? I see a lot of people. Never seen so many people in class when we were meeting. 60.
Morning, morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes, beautiful.
Wait there.
So what's up with the coronavirus? Where are you guys? What is happening in your area? If someone can maybe say some things, just to warm up and then we can start. What is happening? How is life? Anything you want to talk about? Go ahead. You can talk with each other also if you meet some of your friends in the class. Talk with them. Use the mic. Use audio. Use video. Just to get familiarized with this platform. It's
Okay,
not
so
hard.
I'm not sure if you noticed there, but the screen is multiplying, so it's like you're not able to see it clearly.
Okay, no problem. So when I now you will be able to see clearly. You are seeing chapter number 5, restructuring, right?
Mommy, not now. What?
Oh, okay, so
Listen to what mommy is saying. Mommy is more important. Do whatever she is. Do whatever she's asking you to do first. Yeah. Yes. What's up, guys? Say something.
Just bored, sir. Tired of being home.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what are you doing to get rid of boredom? Are you doing some activities? Where are you?
I am at home.
Where is home?
Um, Long Mountain.
Okay. Not far. Not far. Not far. How is the view from there? Where are you sitting? You are inside. You are outside.
I'm inside, but it's the view is okay. I mean, there's not a lot of people on the road still, so I mean,
Okay.
that's good at least.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks. 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 Okay. I think we are going to start. So if you want to say something, or you can open of April for your assignment. So we have looked at 4 chapters so far. Um Now we are going to start looking at chapter number 5 and see how it goes. So chapter number 5, as you should be able to see on your screens now, it's about restructuring. Yeah, restructuring of our own habits, restructuring of routines, restructuring of organizations, processes, policies. All of that is part of restructuring. And you can also link it with what is happening nowadays, um, like with this pandemic, COVID-19. People are trying to restructure their activities. So they don't want to stop the business or daily life routine. They want to minimize the hindrances, but then again, they want to restructure, looking at minimum damage happens to human beings and other stuff. Yeah. So restructuring. So let me start with asking with you guys, and please be interactive as much as possible. When you hear this term restructuring in terms of change management, how do you view it? What comes to your mind when you hear the term restructure or restructuring in the context of change management? Say something, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. I would say restructuring is changing everything from from the core of oneself, ultimately changing every other factor that comes from the core, fundamentals, the foundation.
Okay, beautiful. So, can anyone give any example of any process, anything in happened in life or at work, where you had to restructure something, or someone else was trying to restructure something, and what was the impact of that in terms of change management, anything on that. So any example of restructure, even now you can think about now, like UV is trying to restructure things. So even this interaction, this is a result of some restructuring which they try to do over a period of time in last 4 weeks. So this is our this meeting is a part of that restructuring. So how this has impacted you? What are some of the positives? What are some of the negatives? Is there anything which they should have kept in mind as they were restructuring, but maybe they did not? Yeah. What are your views on that? Or if you don't want to talk about this particular example of UV, you can talk about any example of restructuring and how it impacted you. Any example? Yeah, please go ahead.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
As it pertains to UE and the transition to online classes, a lot of people have made sure to, or are trying to get decent enough internet so that they're able to join classes. For some people, the problems that they face is that some people are not able to get internet, or they don't have good enough internet to join the classes. So
That doesn't matter though, because they made the learning interface is 0 rated. So it don't matter if them have internet or not, they should be able to come on platform.
oh, okay, thanks for letting me know that. Haven't looked at some of those stuff yet. But yeah, just the whole change to online classes, sir, is a big form of restructure for you right now. Because I think before there wasn't much options to do classes online. I'm not sure if anybody else knows.
However, to comment on something.
And even let me say something as our friend is talking. Uh, Although they have made some websites 0 rated and stuff like that, but still it is a challenge, as our friend is talking about. It is a big challenge. Internet connectivity is a big challenge. Even if you think about, for example, Digicel, if you think about it, um, they are not available 100% on the island. I think it is 97% or 98%. There are still some parts where Digicel is not available, and then there are some places where the connection is not very strong. That is a problem. And then some people are there, not maybe us, but there are some other people who maybe don't have smart devices. Maybe there are things going in their house where the environment is not very conducive to engage in an online fashion. So for that, they said that okay, you can either you can do online like synchronous. What we are doing is synchronous live, or you can post the recordings of that, and then we posted some things on the website also, as you would have seen in the advisory. So for asynchronous, people can go over there. But the this is a very good point our friend has made, that no matter how you restructure a process or whatever, there are going to be some people who uh, will not fall under that restructuring. In other words, uh, they will be they will be going out of the system as you restructure, just like in this example as our friend is talking. Yeah, very good. Yes. And yes, as our other friend is saying, that Orwell is 0 rated. So yes. Yes, who wants to
Sir,
say something else? Yes, please go ahead.
something. Is it okay if you can touch on what the whole point of what you're trying to get? Because it was hard for me to access the platform just now, so I got in at a bad time. Is it okay if we can like um say for what you were saying before? Just
Yes,
quote
that is okay, no problem. You have not missed anything. So what I'm trying to ask, and again for everyone, please participate in this activity. Think about any restructure in your life, in your private personal life, or at work, or at University of the West Indies, wherever, and try to think about what were some of the challenges you faced, and then maybe give some idea how those challenges could be minimized or mitigated. So you are trying to give some examples of restructuring from your life or from work and try to say what are some of the challenges, maybe try to say how they could be solved. Yeah.
Okay, so another example of this
Can
restructuring could be like this whole COVID pandemic, where you have to put in certain rules and regulations in the country now, and you have curfews and the whole holiday thing where some persons they weren't able to go out, and some persons have to be going certain hours to buy groceries or certain necessities. I think that's a big restructuring right now all over the world.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. So let's try to think about a little deeper this example of governments trying to say that you can do these things in these times and then you cannot do these things in these time, putting curfews and so on. Governments around the world are doing that. But try to look at the body language and the choice of words and how is their tone when they are saying these things in different countries. So let's talk about Jamaica. So our prime minister, honorable prime minister, came on came on the media and he said that okay, in Easter time you can stay, you can come out of your home in these times, and in these times you are not allowed to come out of your home, and so on. And he gave the briefing. Those for especially for those of you who really listen, see how his tone was. His tone was very friendly. He was smiling. Uh, very few occasions were there when he was like speaking very strictly, but based on how I viewed him, he was very kind and gentle, and he was trying to. For example, think about that. In one of our discussions, we said that human beings are generally very selfish, and whenever any type of change is happening, they want to know what is in that change for them, how that change will benefit them. That is very important for them. They will only participate if they see that okay, I'm getting something out of this. So I heard the prime minister say, honorable prime minister say a couple of times that uh, we are doing it for you. Uh, you will benefit. If you get sick, your friends and family, immediate family, will get sick. If there is any elderly in your family, they might get the disease. You might not die, but the chances for them to die might go very up. That type of thing. So that, although yes, curfew, don't come on road, yes, but not as strict as some other countries are. So now compare this with some other countries. For example, Italy. Have you seen the videos how Italian government is coming on media and stopping the people? If you have not, I will post a link on RVLE just to show you. They are very aggressive with their people. They are telling them stay at home. And why? Because of whatever happened in that country, so many deaths. So that just made them go very aggressive. And then yes, sorry. Yeah. So let's try to think about a little deeper this example of governments trying to say that you can do these things in these times and then you cannot do these things in these time, putting curfews and so on. Governments around the world are doing that. But try to look at the body language and the choice of words and how is their tone when they are saying these things in different countries. So let's talk about Jamaica. So our prime minister, honorable prime minister, came on came on the media and he said that okay, in Easter time you can stay, you can come out of your home in these times, and in these times you are not allowed to come out of your home, and so on. And he gave the briefing. Those for especially for those of you who really listen, see how his tone was. His tone was very friendly. He was smiling. Uh, very few occasions were there when he was like speaking very strictly. But based on how I viewed him, he was very kind and gentle, and he was trying to. For example, think about that. In one of our discussions, we said that human beings are generally very selfish, and whenever any type of change is happening, they want to know what is in that change for them, how that change will benefit them. That is very important for them. They will only participate if they see that, okay, I'm getting something out of this. So I heard the prime minister say, honorable prime minister say a couple of times that uh, we are doing it for you. Uh, you will benefit. If you get sick, your friends and family, immediate family, will get sick. If there is any elderly in your family, they might get the disease. You might not die, but the chances for them to die might go very up. That type of thing. So, although yes, curfew, don't come on road, yes, but not as strict as other countries are. So now compare this with some other countries. For example, Italy. Have you seen the videos how Italian government is coming on media and stopping the people? If you have not, I will post a link on RVLE just to show you. They are very aggressive with their people. They are telling them stay at home. And why? Because of whatever happened in that country, so many deaths. So that just made them go very aggressive. And then other things are debatable. The timing, uh, did they do it very late and so on? Yes, that is another debate. Uh, uh, but yes, think about these things. Whenever restructuring is happening, maybe the people try to tell their audience that this is in your benefit. You will also benefit from this restructure somewhere. For example, think about UV. So as UV is restructuring, somewhere along the lines, they are telling the students also that, okay, yes, we are going online. This will help you to complete your semester almost on time. You will not waste the semester and so on, so forth. And on the same end, they are giving the opportunity for people to drop the course. So they have given extended dates for leave of absence and other things, that you can drop the course if you want. If you cannot manage, you can drop the course. Yeah. So in that, some people who maybe did not get very good scores in some of their uh, uh, coursework or whatever, and they say, all right, let me just drop it. And some people will do that also. Yeah. So look at these both sides. Yes. Yeah, please go ahead. What is the next example? Who want to go? Just go ahead.
So, sir, they're also restructuring by changing the whole outline of final examination.
Yes, Felicia is absolutely right. So they are changing, like, it will have impact on so many things. So when you are going online, then they have to look at other things also, and one of that is for example final exam. So they will change that also. So they will go online. Then new challenges will come, because they don't want people to, for example, plagiarize too much or cheat online, and those type of things. They are thinking that how they can minimize those things and so on. Yeah. So one
Sir, as
exercise
you
can.
mentioned final exams, I have to ask, sir, how has the assessment for the final assessment for this course changed? Like, what is going to happen?
This is sorry, I did not get what you are saying, Amoy Gale.
Yeah, so I'm saying, how is the assessment, the final assessment for our course going to change? Like, is it going to be an online exam and assignment? What is the change with how we're restructuring this course?
Amoy, this is maybe not the right time to ask this question. I'm sorry. We are trying to discuss restructuring. Yeah. So please read the guidance, course guidance. You have all the information in that. What is the impact on coursework and your your final exam? But most likely it would be multiple choice question and short answer just to answer you. And but still you be still thinking to finalize how they are going to go about that. So don't worry about that for now. Try to engage in this discussion which we are trying to do. So restructuring. Yes. Any other example? Trey is there. Yeah, Trey, go ahead.
Exam
Yes, sir. I was thinking about also the restructuring that businesses are doing in terms of like some call centers are now having persons work from home. So I think that's a good example of restructuring. And also, lots of businesses are looking to do that for long-term scenarios. Instead of having persons coming into work, it might be cheaper to give them supplies and have them work from home. Like some companies like Apple is looking to start to do that permanently.
Very good. Thanks very much for this contribution, Trey. Very good point. Excellent point. So this restructuring, some people might think that, okay, this is COVID-19 and we are restructuring. But once COVID is gone, which it will, everything ends at some point of time. Maybe it will take 3 months, 6 months, whatever time it takes, it will end. So after that, companies are going to think what are some of the good things for them. For example, as Trey mentioned, minimizing the cost of workers. So maybe in the future, many companies would say, okay, we were paying you $1,000 per hour. So now we are thinking that you don't have to come to work because it went fine when you did not come to work during COVID. So you can stay at home and work from home. So when you are working from home, you are not spending the money on transportation and gas, and you have to get ready to go to work and so on. So guess what? We will pay you 500. So instead of 1,000, I'm going to give you 500. Yeah. So this type of things is bound to happen. Will happen. There is no doubt. Yeah. In some companies, it will happen in a faster way. In some other companies, it will not happen in a faster way. Some people will resist. So, yeah, so as you guys are very well aware that whenever change is happening, there is going to be some resistance. There are going to be people who are not going to like this idea. For example, think about this UB. So not just the people who are taking the course, but the people who are conducting the course. I'm sure there are some people who will make this, like facilitators who facilitate the class like me. They are going to say, no, I don't like it. I'm not seeing the people. It is hard for me. And, they will try to make up excuses, and not just excuses. Maybe they are true also in some sense. They will say internet is the problem, this and that. But the idea of change management is that you have to support it, otherwise you will perish. So once, for example, your employer decides that, okay, we are going online and whatever, so as a facilitator, my job would be to facilitate this process, yeah, as much as possible. I might like it, I might not like it. Yeah, personally speaking, I like to see you guys roam around in the lecture room, talk with you, look at you, that type of thing. I like that type of interaction. In this medium, I cannot do that. But still, I have to support this and try to learn this medium also. Yeah. Uh, so this type of thing you would want to incorporate in your work also, because whatever you are doing, the companies are restructuring their functions. So yes, it will be a challenge in the first. Remember that learning dip. Whenever you start something new, it goes down, and then over a period of time, if you are interested, you will learn the things, and then the learning will go up. So this will happen wherever you are working. New things are being facilitated. It might take a little bit time for you to get hang of that, but do not worry. It is not that you are not competent or whatever. It is just a new skill. So to learn any new skill, whenever restructuring happens, it takes a little bit of time. So give yourself little bit of time and see, over a period of time, you should just improve. As long as you are improving over a period of time and you have spent some energy and whatever in that activity, it should be fine. Very good point. Yes. Anyone else? Next, please.
Sir, I
Sir,
was
can you
thinking
hear me?
about restructuring as it relates to having bottlenecks organization. So like moving persons who are not efficient in a specific area to another area. And again, persons not everybody will welcome this idea because they get so used to or accustomed to a specific position, then it's hard for them to change. But sometimes the organization needs to work on specific things. For example, creating a new product or having an increase in sales for a specific area, and those persons who are within that area are not necessarily being as effective as they should be in that area. So then you'd restructure the organization by moving some people around, employees from possibly different sectors in the organization, and then that's how I see restructuring and change within the organization happening.
Very good. Excellent point. Please reflect on this. Our friend used couple of terms, for example, bottlenecks. So please Google this if you are not familiar with this. That is important aspect of restructuring. And then another thing which he very nicely mentioned is that when you are restructuring, jobs are being assigned. As a leader, you should look at what are the competencies of different people. So for example, you restructure and give me some job and see how I perform in that job. Yes. And if I'm not performing very well, it is not that you should just let me go, because you had hired me, there must be something good in me. So try to spend some time in that and try to see what are my capabilities, and then match that capability with the new restructuring. This is a very good point. Excellent point. Uh, but the only drawback, it's not a drawback, but it takes time. It takes time. It takes effort. So, for example, let's say that this, whatever I'm doing right now, I'm sucking in this and I'm not doing a good job. And then uh, my boss decides that, okay, this is not for you, don't do it. Yeah, so you just we just taking you out. Yeah, so what is the impact of that? Yeah, so think about that. Yeah, what is giving new jobs to new people. So for my boss, it would be easier for them to let me go at this time. Why? Because they are already very busy, very much busy in doing other activities because of this pandemic. They have issues in their office, they have issues at home, all those issues. In this time, it would be very hard for them to sit down and reflect what I can do best and then match me to the new restructuring. It would be very hard. So one solution for that can be that the person who is in the job, for example, you guys, your job is being restructured and you see that this is not for you or you are not, of course after giving your 100%, if you think that this is not best for you, you look around in the organization and see what you can do and then maybe volunteer that. Yeah, so as you are doing your job, I think after giving your 100%, it is not something which which you can manage. Maybe there is some other thing which you can. So try to volunteer in that and try to establish your credibility. And once you have that, maybe some new opening can be created for that. But again, it is very easy to say in this format, in a discussion format. In the real world, it can be very challenging, and that is why many people will lose their job. Excellent points. Next one, please.
Sir,
Good
um,
one.
as to the government,
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can. All of us can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so where the government is now offering compassionate grants to like students, pensioners, unemployed. So this is a perfect example of restructuring because he's giving grants to like persons who have to close their business, like corner shop owners, bar, and those places. So this is a perfect example of the restructuring.
Very good. Good example. Very good. Very good. Yes. Next
Good
one.
morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can hear you. Once your
Uh,
mic is open, all of us can hear you. And when you guys are not speaking, just turn off your mic. When you are speaking, turn it on. Yes, please go ahead.
all right, just to add to what you were saying, sir, about restructuring in the workplace. Well, in my workplace, no, they're trying to do a week on and week off with the workers just to lessen the amount of individuals that will come in office instead of really letting people go too. I believe the government had said something about gathering of more than 10. So they're really trying to not have a lot of people in the workplace now, as well as not letting them go.
Very, very good point, and it makes me think a little bit. Excellent point, and I will share my thoughts with you. So think about all this restructuring, which is happening in different countries, and why ask yourself why are they doing all this restructure? What is the purpose? What is the objective they want to achieve? So the objective is that the this COVID-19 should not spread too much. That is what they are trying to do. So look at the countries which really minimize COVID-19. So China, yes, China, it started there, but that is a country which we can say that they really minimize the spread of this COVID-19. But think about it, how did they do it? They did it by complete lockdown. It was not 1 week you work and 1 week you come back and 1 week you go, and this week you can stay out till 8 p.m. Next week you can stay out till 9 p.m. and that type of thing. I'm not trying to criticize any policy. That is not the objective. What I'm trying to say is that the solution is complete lockdown because of the nature of this disease, because of its ability to go from one person to another, and we have seen across the world. So the solution is, if you ask the solution, uh, there is consensus that the solution is complete lockdown, and within the lockdown, social distancing. So even in your family, distancing, yes. So that is the solution. But think about the things countries are doing. Most of the countries are not doing complete lockdown. So now ask yourself why. So if they really want to restructure, they should lock down, but they are not doing it. The reason is that they cannot do it. They cannot stop the economy 100%, because if they stop the economy, the vulnerable people in the society, the people who earn their living every day and eat it, all that type of thing, and that is a big amount of people in the world and in developing countries, and even in developed countries, even countries like US, they cannot afford to really lock down. They do, sometimes they do, but the pressure is huge. And so look at the money they are giving. It is in trillions of dollars. US, look at other countries like Germany, Google, how much money they are giving in the sector, the government. So only the rich countries can really afford this type of lockdown, because think about other things. You If it is 100% lockdown and people are poor and they don't have a lot of food in the house, it is government's responsibility to give them food and all those type of things. So governments cannot do it. Countries like Jamaica and other developing countries, it is very hard. So the way they are trying to restructure is the objective is that it should not be the case where too many people get sick. If too many people get sick, too many people would have to go to hospital. If too many people go to hospital, there will be pressure in the hospital, more doctors, more nurses, and all those type of things, ventilators and all those type of things. And then because of not having those facilities, too many people will die. So they are trying to just, instead of having a high curve, they know that they are going to have the curve, but they are trying to limit it. Yeah. So that is very interesting point. Think about that. Uh, Same thing in any other restructuring. Yeah. So for example, this thing which UV is doing. Uh, of course, not everyone will be happy from this restructuring. All facilitators would not be happy. All people who are taking courses, they will not be happy. But what they are trying to do is that they want to continue the operation. So uh, they they keep on getting the fees and whatever. I don't know if I should say that or not, but this is the reality. They have to run the business. So they don't want to shut down everything. So that is why they said, all right, we can do online, and this way students will complete their semester almost on time, and we will also continue to run our economy. Yeah. So economy has key role to play in restructuring. So from this discussion, and I'm going to look at the chapter and we will discuss the pointers from the chapter, but this is an excellent pointer in the sense that when you are restructuring, one of the key things which you would want to keep in mind is the finance. So when you will restructure, what will be the impact on the finance of one person or a department or a company or a country? So Honorable Prime Minister could just come on the TV and say, all right, there is 100% lockdown. No one is going to come out. That's it. Yeah. Put JDF, and they can do that. Any country can do that. Yeah. So yes, but then there are poor people. They are going to come out on the road after some point in time. Yeah, they are going to. So how to deal with that? Are you going to use force? So in a democracy, that is not going to be very much suited for the politics of the country. So if this government do this complete lockdown and try to put people in the house, when the economy goes down, they might not vote this government again. So they have to think about that also. So they want to be a little bit friendly with the society, with the people. On the other hand, think about China. When it spread there, what did they do? It said complete lockdown. You cannot come out. People who come out, the police would come and just pick them up and put them in the car and lock them. Yeah, that is what they were like, physical with those people whenever they were doing some things. And the clips are there, stories are there. Sometimes they remove it, but still. So think about these things. Yes, next please.
Sir, can we think of it in terms of um, the uh, health sector in terms of how they see the responses of persons who contain the virus and how they, as in their response to getting persons or getting less persons affected. So in terms of like they quarantine, a few weeks ago they quarantined the entire community of quarantines. So I think restructuring was trying to figure out how best to contain the spread and basically what else they can do to help or to educate other persons to know that this is serious and that they need to be taking the necessary precautions. I don't know if it can be used as another restructuring method, but that's what I think.
A very good point. Of course, different strategies, different people are going to use different strategies. So our friend is talking about maybe educating and those type of things. Essentially, taking people on board as you are restructuring, that is going to be very important. So the people who are working for you, whatever restructuring you are doing, you don't want to create so many enemies. You want to bring them on board. How to bring them on board? That is the question. So the answer, simple answer is that you need to tell them what is the benefit for them. So let's say this facilitating job. So let's say I don't like it, and I say no, this online thing is not working for me. Yeah. So I say I cannot do it. So my boss says, sit down with me and say, listen, this is the future of higher education. This is how universities will conduct classes in going forward because of increased technology and so on. So you can conduct the class in face-to-face environment, but we don't know if you can do it well in the online environment also. So you will gain this skill of conducting a session.
So you hearing me?
Yes, we can. All of us can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so where the government is now offering compassionate grants to like students, pensioners, unemployed. So this is a perfect example of restructuring because he's giving grants to like persons who have to close their business, like corner shop owners, bar, and those places. So this is a perfect example of the restructuring.
Well, in my workplace, no, they're trying to do a week on and week off with the workers just to lessen the amount of individuals that will come in office instead of really letting people go too. I believe the government had said something about gathering of more than 10. So they're really trying to not have a lot of people in the workplace now, as well as not letting them go.
Very, very good point, and it makes me think a little bit. Excellent point, and I will share my thoughts with you. So think about all this restructuring, which is happening in different countries, and why ask yourself why are they doing all this restructure? What is the purpose? What is the objective they want to achieve? So the objective is that the this COVID-19 should not spread too much. That is what they are trying to do. So look at the countries which really minimize COVID-19. So China, yes, China, it started there, but that is a country which we can say that they really minimize the spread of this COVID-19. But think about it, how did they do it? They did it by complete lockdown. It was not 1 week you work and 1 week you come back and 1 week you go, and this week you can stay out till 8 p.m. Next week you can stay out till 9 p.m. and that type of thing. I'm not trying to criticize any policy. That is not the objective. What I'm trying to say is that the solution is complete lockdown because of the nature of this disease, because of its ability to go from one person to another, and we have seen across the world. So the solution is, if you ask the solution, uh, there is consensus that the solution is complete lockdown, and within the lockdown, social distancing. So even in your family, distancing, yes. So that is the solution. But think about the things countries are doing. Most of the countries are not doing complete lockdown. So now ask yourself why. So if they really want to restructure, they should lock down, but they are not doing it. The reason is that they cannot do it. They cannot stop the economy 100%, because if they stop the economy, the vulnerable people in the society, the people who earn their living every day and eat it, all that type of thing, and that is a big amount of people in the world and in developing countries, and even in developed countries, even countries like US, they cannot afford to really lock down. They do, sometimes they do, but the pressure is huge. And so look at the money they are giving. It is in trillions of dollars. US. Look at other countries like Germany. Google how much money they are giving in the sector, the government. So only the rich countries can really afford this type of lockdown, because think about other things. You, if it is 100% lockdown and people are poor and they don't have a lot of food in the house, it is government's responsibility to give them food and all those type of things. So governments cannot do it. Countries like Jamaica and other developing countries, it is very hard. So what they are trying to, the way they are trying to restructure is the objective is that it should not be the case where too many people get sick. If too many people get sick, too many people would have to go to hospital. If too many people go to hospital, there will be pressure in the hospital, more doctors, more nurses and all those type of things, ventilators and all those type of things. And then because of not having those facilities, too many people will die. So they are trying to just, instead of having a high curve, they know that they are going to have the curve, but they are trying to limit it. Yeah. So that is very interesting point. Think about that. Uh, Same thing in any other restructuring. Yeah. So for example, this thing which UV is doing. Uh, of course, not everyone will be happy from this restructuring. All facilitators would not be happy. All people who are taking courses, they will not be happy. But what they are trying to do is that they want to continue the operation. So uh, they they keep on getting the fees and whatever. I don't know if I should say that or not, but this is the reality. They have to run the business. So they don't want to shut down everything. So that is why they said, all right, we can do online, and this way students will complete their semester almost on time, and we will also continue to run our economy. Yeah. So economy has key role to play in restructuring. So from this discussion, and I'm going to look at the chapter and we will discuss the pointers from the chapter, but this is an excellent pointer in the sense that when you are restructuring, one of the key things which you would want to keep in mind is the finance. So when you will restructure, what will be the impact on the finance of one person or a department or a company or a country? So Honorable Prime Minister could just come on the TV and say, all right, there is 100% lockdown. No one is going to come out. That's it. Yeah. Put JDF, and they can do that. Any country can do that. Yeah. So yes, but then there are poor people. They are going to come out on the road after some point in time. Yeah, they are going to. So how to deal with that? Are you going to use force? So in a democracy, that is not going to be very much suited for the politics of the country. So if this government do this complete lockdown and try to put people in the house, when the economy goes down, they might not vote this government again. So they have to think about that also. So they want to be a little bit friendly with the society, with the people. On the other hand, think about China. When it spread there, what did they do? They said complete lockdown. You cannot come out. People who come out, the police would come and just pick them up and put them in the car and lock them. Yeah, that is what they were like, physical with those people whenever they were doing some things. And the clips are there, stories are there. Sometimes they remove it, but still. So think about these things. Yes, next please. So the people who are working for you, whatever restructuring you are doing, you don't want to create so many enemies. You want to bring them on board. How to bring them on board? That is the question. So the answer, simple answer is that you need to tell them what is the benefit for them. So let's say this facilitating job. So let's say I don't like it, and I say no, this online thing is not working for me. Yeah. So I say I cannot do it. So my boss says, sit down with me and say, listen, this is the future of higher education. This is how universities will conduct classes in going forward because of increased technology and so on. So you can conduct the class in the live in face-to-face environment, but we don't know if you can do it well in the online environment also. So you will gain this skill of conducting a session when you cannot see the people, just talking with the with the camera. Yeah. So right now maybe sometimes I'm looking here and there, but this is where I should be looking at, in the camera. So when I look at the camera,
Could be like an example of restructuring, like the hierarchy of companies, I guess.
yes, yes, excellent point. So you would have to see that, okay, in a company, which are the people who have to come to work, who cannot stay at home, but there will be few people. So for example, University of the West Indies, the security people, security personnel. Of course, doctors and nurses, they are essential workers, but if we are not talking about them, the people who are in security, you if you come on the campus, you will see them that they are there. Yeah. So that is so companies would have to think, make a decision that which workers need to come to work. So I hope you guys are making some notes of this. This is a very good discussion. I'm thinking that on restructuring, all these things which you guys are mentioning, they are very important. Yes, next one, please.
Sir, some of the supermarkets are
Um,
doing delivery service to avoid crowd at the supermarket.
Sir, so with a lot of like the restaurants is overseas, like I see that they are currently trying to like not have customers come into they took a delivery route. Is that like considered restructuring?
Yeah, very good, excellent example. So again, trying to reiterate the same point which we mentioned a while ago, that for example, these places, food places, grocery stores, they cannot afford to shut their business. It is not possible. Complete lockdown. It is possible, but the cost is very high. So because of that high cost, they say, all right, someone is riding a motorcycle. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, these grocery stores, so they can lock down their food places and stuff, but because the cost would be very high for them, they want to continue the business. So for that, they are saying, all right, how else we can do? We can do delivery and other type of stuff. Then they will maybe very in the very near future, almost all good companies, they will place the links to order online and stuff like that. Most of them are already doing that. So these are key things to consider. One thing which is coming in my mind, and we spoke about in the earlier section also, the infrastructure of the country. So for example, availability of internet, is it available throughout the country or not? Then the affordability of the internet, if people have to go on plans, are they affordable or not? What is the socio-economic structure of most of the people? Can they afford to pay if they buy the data online to Digicel and Lime and Flow and so on? Yeah. Uh, what has been the state of economy in the past? Are there people who have been employed and they may have had some savings and stuff like that? So all these things, maybe countries like Jamaica, they are a little low on these. Yeah. Many people did not have job even before COVID-19. So they did not have a lot of money which they could save. So now in these times, how are they going to uh,
And the same thing about persons that cannot afford the internet and stuff like that, because look at some of the US students with this whole pandemic in place. Most persons who are who's at UA, they're the ones that like they depend on the school Wi-Fi most of the time. So some of them like sleep in the library just for the school Wi-Fi so they can access it to do their schoolwork and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be really hard on them right now to actually for this online class thing, because maybe some of them won't be able to come online and get the material that they need and stuff like that, because their main source of getting internet was coming to school and whatever. So I think that with this whole pandemic, it is very hard for them right now, and the plans don't really work out some of the time, because digital for one is really cheap. So with this educational plan too, I don't think it will even work out to the best of their advantage. So a whole lot of students right now, I think, is crying and is frustrated with this whole pandemic and have to have online classes, which they can't really afford to get internet or buy data plans or whatever to actually come to get the materials that they need for school.
Absolutely correct.
About the care package, for those who are unemployed, some persons are obtaining less money than what they were actually earning. So now they have to restructure their needs since they have less money to support the family. So, for example, food will have to be purchased in less portions and there will be little or no money left to save. So, all these Jamaicans have to try and adapt in order to survive.
Very good point. Very good point. But let's not restrict it to just Jamaica. This is across the world. Even if these are developed countries, they are facing the same issue. So think about this: that how uh, and in your own time, I think you should do this activity. These are just some pointers for you to start thinking. Businesses across the world, how are they restructuring their businesses? You don't have to talk about this now. When after this session in the next week, coming weeks, you can just in your own time just keep an eye uh, on how different businesses are restructuring, and over a period of time. And this exercise will not finish when this semester ends. This you should continue this to understand that when companies restructured, what worked and what did not work. Yeah, so companies across the world, governments across the world are trying to restructure their activities, their processes. Yeah, so over a period of time, if you keep an eye, you will learn that what really works and what are some of the things which did not work. Which type of governance policies, like China has their own type of government. It's not a democracy. On the other hand, US and most of the countries in the Europe, they are more like democratic. So what type of political structure maybe helped the restructuring, and then you can link it with the discussion we had in the leadership, because we were talking about how different leaders are uh, different leaders behave differently. uh, some like to take opinion from their people and try to incorporate those opinions, and some don't like to do that. Some just try to say, okay, you need to do it like this, and then other people have to follow. Yeah, so try to think about that. Yes, Michaela, please go ahead.
I was going to say that I believe that the communist countries are dealing with pandemic a little bit better, because what they can do is say, you do this, and the people have to abide by it. But because different countries may be democratic, they don't handle it so well, because persons are not obligated to listen, and they will do what they want to do regardless of what the government might say. So take into consideration the US, where Trump might be saying do this, do that. Persons still go about to do what they want to do, walk on the streets, and no little penalty might be there, but not stringent penalties that would strike fear in them to do otherwise. But if you take into consideration China and the other countries that if you do certain things, they beat you on the street or they take you away and then your harsher penalties, though you can see that the cases of COVID are not as great, or if it is great, it goes down within a reasonable time because of the fear that people have of what might happen if they're caught for doing certain things. And as well as for party owners don't who can host their parties and whatever. In America, what they're doing is having their parties on the balcony so neighboring communities can enjoy the party life experience without actually.
Hello?
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me?
hello. We can, yes, yes, we can hear you. Once you guys open your mic, we can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so this is kind of about COVID-19 still, but I'm saying apart from rearranging work hours and all of that, managers have to also look at their old forecast and assumptions and projections that they made, and they have to restructure it because they have to now take into consideration certain things. They need to maintain relationships with their creditors, with their suppliers, with their customers, because in times of crisis, sometimes it is how you deal with it that can break or solidify a relationship with those people. So they have to take those things into consideration.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that line. The last line which our friend said, that it is in the time of crisis when you really know what the company is all about or the people of are. Because think about it, when everything is fine, everything is running smoothly, um, things will run fine. But it is in the time of crisis. And if you guys remember, we said in one of our discussions earlier in one of the classes that you need to prepare for, you have to foresee the crisis and you have to prepare it before it comes, because you will prepare when it comes, but you will have a lot of difficulty in that. So for example, this we can talk about this new interface of communicating, this online. So people, facilitators who had taken some time to understand this online conversation, how to engage in that before COVID-19, before this happened, they just did it. They just wanted to know. They maybe wanted to uh, give this skill set to themselves. When this thing came, they could easily transfer. On the other hand, you might see some classes where you will maybe face some difficulty. It is not the fault of that person, people, those facilitators. It is not. But it is hard to prepare in the time of crisis. It is best that you prepare, you foresee what can go wrong. This thing can go wrong, this thing can go wrong. So let me prepare for that before it goes wrong. So then you are, so it is the same thing, just like when you are going in the interview, you just foresee what are some of the questions which can be asked, what are the difficult questions which can be asked, and then you prepare for those type of questions. So when you go in that interview, yes, you will still find some questions which you did not prepare, but still your confidence would be a little higher. Very good point about the crisis. Yes, next one please.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Um,
Hello.
Another thing about this
Go
whole
ahead, go ahead.
19 situation is that it can also be good for businesses in the sense that it's how you react to the situation, how you show yourself to the public, so that people can see as this depend like giving back during the time of COVID, donating to certain corporations, donating to the public sector in the case of a private company, which could show people this good image of your company, which also after the crisis might boost your sales or boost your revenue, boost your customers, get more known in the public for what you've done. I'm not saying that you must use this crisis as and exploit it just to make profit. But just doing good things from a company perspective, restructuring how you look on the outside world could help you after a crisis situation.
Beautiful. Excellent point, Matthew. Well done. Very nice. I really love that point. Yeah, so he's talking about reaction. So what I'm trying to think is that after the crisis is over, there are many managers who will be promoted because of how they conducted themselves for the company. Or even if they are not promoted, they will be praised. Something will happen, and then many managers will go down. Same thing in the governments. There will be many leaders, political leaders, which will emerge as national leaders, or they will again win the next elections, maybe because of the way they conducted in this problem. So again, think about this reaction which Matthew is talking about, and the last point also about the crisis, that how people react in the crisis. Very good points. Yeah, and this is all about restructuring. When you are restructuring, all these things which you have been trying to talk about, you have to keep these in mind. At least you should have some notes that these are the things which we should look at. But then again, it won't be possible to incorporate all of these things. It is not possible. You will just pick the ones which are most important for you, and then you will try to restructure your organization or the process in that. And in doing so, many people will come in and many people will fall out. It is just like that. You guys remember that? I don't remember the name of that, but it is something like when you go through something, you are like in denial, and then you get angry and depressed and all those things, and then uh, in the end you just comply with the new situation. That cycle. So in that cycle, if you guys remember our conversation, many people will fall out. Many people who are depressed, they might commit suicide or something, so they will fall out. Yeah, so it's not that everyone is going to go through the whole restructuring process. Yes, next one please.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Looking at the COVID-19 pandemic, I would say that yes, there's a lot of negative to it, but there's also a small positive in the sense that some cities globally are experiencing a decline in pollution, more so air pollution, because certain manufacturing firms, with the restrictions and stuff, they are not manufacturing as much stuff. So you have a decline in air pollution more so. So for persons that live in that area that would have health issues such as asthma, yes, it is still bad because the COVID virus can affect them, but their pollution levels has declined. So to them, it might be a little bit of a positive somewhat in some sense.
Very good point. I made a note of this. I'm going to talk about later. Very good point, Philip. Loved it. Next one.
Hi, morning everyone.
Yes.
Um,
Hello.
on the case, I'm sorry. In the case of what's going on, restructuring, I'm just going to share a bit about how organizations currently and after, I think, will have to reposition themselves in order to help. In order to I would say add some level of value. So where I'm going with my train of thought is a lot of persons right now are are temporarily laid off or they're temporarily out of a job. Now, the only reason why that's the case is genuinely because of how the organizations have structured their strategy. And we know that a lot of structure is, persons coming to work and they do a 9 to 5 and they head home and it's business as usual. Now, because of what's going on, Jamaica is, in all honesty, a lower to middle income country. So, as a lower to middle income country, and we operating in the Caribbean with a lot of homogeneous products and services, we have to stand out. So, it is actually now during this time that a lot of university students will have to think of ways to become more ingenuitive or innovative so that way we can, okay, for example, how can we get innovative in in sectors that Jamaica relies so heavily on, like distribution or agriculture. How can we help our agricultural sector to innovate enough that way we can come out on top? And also, how can we have university students come out of university and for a job, and them being in this new organization can add some level of value to the way how the organization goes about making profit or even communicating. So restructuring can be internal and it even can be external. I'm talking predominantly on the case of the organization and the structure and university students who are coming out of the university setting and into a job. And we ourselves, we all have to know our skills and talents because that's the only way we can compete against persons like in Trinidad.
I think this last comment which Dimari made, I think that is the takeaway from what we have been trying to discuss so far. He's talking about being innovative. Please think about this. If you did not, you can disregard all the things which we mentioned before. To be honest, I think what Dimari is saying is the most critical thing in these times. He's talking about being innovative for all of us, you guys and me. So this COVID-19, even if it goes away, it is going to have some implications on all of us. So all of us have to re-examine our skill set. What are the things we can offer in the new world? Yeah, we really have to think about that. And he's talking about being innovative, entrepreneurship, yeah, new idea development. And don't think that there is nothing new and there is nothing you can contribute in the society post COVID-19 or as we are moving through that. Really have to think about this. And the reason why I really love this point is uh, many people will be graduating in December and in the next year, November, December, whenever. Our economy already is unable to employ all the people who graduate, cannot even employ half. I think it is 20%. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But you guys know a lot of people graduate and they cannot find the jobs. So now with this COVID-19, as companies try to restructure, and another friend made the point that many companies are going to say, okay, we were paying you 1,000 earlier, now you can work from home and we will be paying you 500. And another friend made the comment that people will have to buy less, maybe buy less food, and then the impact on the crime, all of these things, and then you need to find some job. So you really need to think about some skill set which you can offer in the times of COVID and going forward. Excellent point, Tamari. Being innovative, being Anarvar and Renisha have raised their hand. If you are not going to say anything, please lower your hands or say something.
Good morning. Even though restructuring can cause chaos in some businesses, it can be seen as opportunity for some. For example, in the electrical industries for JPS, most people are at home in these times, so they are benefiting from this chaos. Also, for hospitals and healthcare systems, they are also benefiting.
Yes, great point, and the timing of this comment is absolutely correct. Right after Dimari. So Renisha is saying that it is not that everything is lost. New opportunities will come from this. So we don't have to demoralize that. Oh, this what we will do and what not. And no, whenever change happens, it closes that door, but it opens many new doors, new avenues. So just have to think about that. Very good point. Yes, Marwan.
Good things that could have.
Think on any positive of coronavirus, any positive of this pandemic.
Well, two positives. Personal one personal one is, I guess, close. You get closer to your family and friends through, the different mediums like the technology. Um, Also, I've been seeing reports that the environment has gotten cleaner since COVID-19. Less production, less activity in the atmosphere, less fossil fuels being released. So I guess that's a positive for now.
Very good. Just keep it going. So just there is a queue. So everyone just come and say one positive of coronavirus. Anything. Yes. Go ahead.
For me,
Okay, so
one
one
positive for
positive
me
that
was
I've
that one positive for me was that I basically in not coming to school.
Instagram business is starting where they're selling reusable masks. So that is a source of income that people didn't have before, which is good.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Next one. So just follow the queue and just come and say one positive of one or two or whatever comes to your mind. We just want to try to talk about is there any positive from coronavirus or COVID? We have been talking about so many negative things. Well, let's just bring some positivity in the environment.
Sir, good evening, good afternoon, rather. A positive that might arise is the business opportunities which may be available after, during the COVID. Seeing like, for instance, everybody is panicking, so they're selling off stuff or assets that they own in order to acquire cash. During the middle of this, everybody is selling off, it depreciates the value. So this is a good time for you to jump in and grab some stuff.
Very good. Excellent point. I love that point. So as many businesses will close, this is a great time to launch new businesses. You just have to think about what are some of the skills you can offer in these times. There are many things which are needed more in this time. Excellent point. Next one, please.
another
Sir,
big example.
sir, not to jump.
Another the queue. Another big example. Of
Go ahead,
that can
please. Go
happen.
ahead. But please don't jump the lines. There is a queue, so just follow that. Yes. Go ahead, please. Yes, Trey.
Yes, a very good thing happening now due to COVID is that stock prices have been falling, so people can now start to get in and get valuable stocks for cheap.
Yes, great, great, good example. One example which is coming to my mind is like look at the attendees now. There are 72, 72. I've never seen 72 people in when I was in the session. So this is a good thing. Yeah. So I think about it. You don't have to come to school. You are just sitting where you are. So yes, provided if you have internet connectivity, this is a good thing. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. You guys hear me? Okay.
Yes,
So
yes. Once you open your mic, we can hear you. So just open your mic and say what you have to say. And after saying, just close your mic and just follow the cue. Thank you.
okay. So one of the positives I think is that the government giving out the little compassionate grants to persons who are less fortunate and stuff like that, even to students because they have one for students. So we tertiary education students can also go ahead and sign up for that and receive that money, and we can go ahead and use it for whatever for to access this online thing with the data plan and stuff like that. So that could be one of the positives.
Yeah, very interesting point. But just maybe I'm just thinking loud. This might also make so the positive you mentioned is absolutely correct. I take that point. Excellent point. But that governments are sponsoring these poor people. They need the help, of course. But then it might also make some people lazy or they don't want to work, and that type of thing can happen also. But then, of course, government will ensure that money goes to the right people. Good point. Next one.
Sir, I think
Sir.
a positive is I think more opportunities are being created for like delivery service companies. I see like most businesses are utilizing like delivery service, and I think innovation is also high because they're coming up with new ideas to serve customers, to reach their customers, and to interact with them.
Yes, very good point, Janine. And think about this: that delivery, home delivery. This is not a new concept. If you think about other countries, they have been doing it for a long time. So if there were some companies in Jamaica who had already started this before COVID-19, let's say a year ago, they must have gone through their learning curve and they must have taken care of the issues which they will face. And in this time now, they will perform more efficiently, effectively. So other companies are now trying to do the same thing, but it's the same idea that you foresee the future, what can be some of the needs, and then you prepare for them. And when this time of crisis comes, you can jump into that. Yes. Next one, please. Go ahead.
Sorry, I cannot see the share screen that you have on. Like it's feeding into each other and I can't see the screen clearly.
Take some positives of coronavirus. Say some positives of coronavirus.
Some
House
positives would have
prices fell.
been some positives would have been, for example, in China, the ozone, there not the amount of air pollution that would have been there, it has decreased by a large percentage. I don't know how much, but the pollution there isn't as great as it used to be.
Yes, good point, Michaela. Yes, she's talking about environment and so on. Yes, Rachel, go ahead. Watson, go ahead, please.
Okay, so some house prices fell and people might be able to afford a home now.
Oh, yes, that is a challenge again. Interesting point. Yes, next one, please.
So I think with all the corona pandemic that's going on, I think that future businesses and the countries will have a better contingency plan, will improve their plan to facilitate something like this if it's supposed to happen.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Very good. So she's talking about contingency plans, backup plans, those type of things. So because the countries are going through this in the future, they will have definitely will have better backup plans, better contingency plans. I would like to link it with the spread of coronavirus in some of the Asian countries, which were able to minimize the the spread. For example, China, for example, Korea, and so on. You know the names. So if you look at the history of those countries, all those countries which were able to manage this pandemic, they are the ones who have gone through some type of similar disease which were spreading in the past. So from there they have had their lessons and they were learning, and now when this came, they were ready to implement it. Yeah. So the other countries, they, for example, Italy, for example, Spain. What do you think? And this is not a question. This is just a thought. If this thing happens again with Italy, if this thing happens again with Spain, uh, they are not going to have this much of a bad impact. Why? Because they have learned from their lessons. Just like in our life, we go through something bad. The same people, the people who reflect, they generally do not repeat their mistakes. So if Italy and Spain and those type of countries where death toll is very high, when next time this thing will happen, they will have a better contingency plan, better backup plan. They will be able to deal with this situation in a better way. So this is a very big positive. That yes, countries are going through these type of lockdowns and economy and all those type of things, but at the end of the day, it is going to make us stronger. Yeah. Next one, please. If Brown is not ready, smart, Sheldon smart, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to repeat the point about crime, the reduced crime rate. But not only that, there's less vehicular accident across the world because there's less traffic and stuff like that. Another point is that there are a lot of countries are now working together to combat the disease. So that unity that would not normally be there is now coming across.
Very good. Excellent point, Sheldon. Excellent point. So less accidents, of course, and then what he's talking about, you can link it with some other courses like international business management. So you are saying many corporations are being started in within between different countries. For example, I was looking at this story that there is some collaboration happening about masks and stuff like this, like those between Russia and China, Russia and America. Yes, so Russia and America are trying to cooperate with each other in that sense. So very good point. This will bring some countries closer. Yeah, very good. Yeah, next one, please.
Hi, no, I know Michaela's hand has been up. Giselle, if you want to go ahead, you can go ahead.
Demari, go ahead. Demari, go ahead, please.
Okay, sure. I had said because of the virus, we do have to kind of think outside of the box. And I had just thrown an idea out there as it relates to how we can be of service and of value to others, particularly the persons most affected, which would be the elderly. And I was saying that, the good thing that has come out of this is there's now a shift to digital presence. So if I'm from the UK and I understand what's going on in Jamaica and I don't want my family to be affected, and yeah, and I don't want my family to be affected. However, there is a university student who's a marketer who can possibly approach the pharmacies or just a chain of pharmacies and to pitch the idea of taking them digital, which is to create a web page for them, and manage and maintain the web page. Then what you will find is, okay, I'm based in UK. I can meet the needs of my family members by easily picking out the supplements or their medications, and I can order purchase that medication, and I can rest assured that the medication would be delivered to their homes without them having to come out of their homes. So that's kind of where the positive lies, like where there's a lot of shift to the digital space, and it is the onus is on us for us to put forth, these proposals to these businesses, because again, they were so stuck in the brick and mortar space, like persons have to come to my pharmacy or a person have to come to my supermarket to make a purchase. No, that's not the case. We can build out a full-on e-commerce for them. We as marketing students and even operations managers, whoever you are, once you can fill a gap within this particular niche, we can come out beneficial, and that's a big plus because there has been times where persons want to run a 9 to 5, and you're like, I don't need to be physically in your presence for me to have some level of impact on your business. So that's a big plus that I see.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Demari. Next one, please.
Yes, good afternoon again, sir. So because most people are currently working from home, sir, we use plastic less and we print less, we travel less and we shop less. So all of these aspects are contributing to the environment in a positive way. And also, people are now being more conscious when it comes down to nutrition and exercise. Yes, that's my point, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Kemal. You made excellent points. I did not think about that. Yes, yeah. So printing, yes, it has gone definitely down. And with the other point Demari was mentioning earlier, like people are going to go digitized and that type of thing. Very good point. And then about staying healthy, and maybe people are also spending less in this time.
As a business owner, it has made me more innovative, think about new ideas on how to expand my business and how to serve my niche better. So I think COVID impacts both negatively and positively, and I can see where it impacts me positively.
Of coronavirus, and then we wrap up this discussion and move on.
I think a positive so far of the coronavirus is that people overall have been practicing better hygiene, that they're sanitizing more and they're cleaning more, stuff like that.
Yeah, very good. We did not speak about that. We did speak about like eating more healthy, but like staying more clean. Yes, that is interesting point. Yes. Next one.
Sir, I think because since this coronavirus came in, given that not as many people will be working from certain businesses, since many people would be at home, it gives them more time to reflect on certain things. So, like ultimately, they will make better decisions for themselves and society. And a friend in the chat had mentioned something about family. I think that in the case where some people are always busy and on the go, it gives people the opportunity to actually talk to some family members who they have not spoken to in a while. Yes.
That is very interesting. That is very interesting. So if I have to ask you, Brandon, what are you reflecting on these times? Like when you have more time, what are you reflecting on? Can you tell us?
Sure, sir. People can instead because people would normally be busy when this coronavirus wasn't taking place, many people can just come together and actually, enjoy each other's company. Meaning because everybody is in that working mentality and always in that productive mindset, people can sort of calm down and just realize that, it's not all about business. There are other things to life to enjoy apart from making money. Yes, sir.
But my question was that if you can share with us, what are you personally speaking reflecting on? Are you reflecting on some things which you did not get a chance to reflect on in the past because you were more busy and now you have more time? So personally speaking, Brandon, are you reflecting on some things? Can you share those with us?
Sure, sir. But I think the main thing for me is just, praying more and giving God thanks, more thanks.
Okay, that's
That's what
that's
I would do
beautiful.
personally.
That's beautiful. And a follow up with you, Brandon.
Pardon, sir?
Getting on that. Yes. So this family thing which you mentioned, Brandon, I would like to speak a little bit about that. So you are saying that there are some people who maybe did not find a lot of time to spend time with their family, and now they are spending more time. Don't you think that when they are spending more time, there can be some negatives also? For example, uh, there will be more fights because they are talking more or something like that. How do you view that?
Think it depends on the certain like different families because there are different families that have different sort of cultures and different mindsets. I can only speak for the families, well, for my family specifically, because my family is very close. So for my family in particular, in this time where a lot of people are at home, we can enjoy one another's company. We can play board games and we can just relax. But I can't really speak for other families that may not share the same sort of family culture. But if there's a negative side to it, I guess you're right, where in terms of if everybody is at home and then you have people who have sort of loud personalities, one may overpower the other. That's on negative side. I guess that can cause a sort of conflict or disruption. But for my family specifically, sir, I can say that we're using this time to just reflect and look at what is the most important things in life.
Very good, excellent, and thanks for reminding us that this is a good time to pray and to connect with the God and higher powers and so on. We did not touch on that in our discussion. Thank you for that, Brandon. Yes, next
Yes,
one.
sir.
Yes, sir. You get a lot of time right now to rethink your life. You have time to rethink about your career path, relationships, or even have time to rethink if you may want to even get closer to some family members as well.
Very good, and thanks for that. And all these pointers which you guys have mentioned, and thanks for that. These are some positives of coronavirus, positives of pandemic, COVID-19. And I'm sure there are other points which you guys have, and maybe you did not came on the mic and shared with us, and that is fine. But think about this: that although this is a negative side, and there is so much negativity in the people are talking negatively about this, you don't have to talk about negatively. Yeah, in any situation, whenever restructuring is happen, whenever changes happen, especially the things which you cannot control personally, you just have to see that what is the positive in it. And think about this coronavirus is really bad, but still we were able to find so many new avenues, new opportunities, positive sides of this pandemic. So from this conversation, link it with the earlier part where some friends were talking about being innovative, being entrepreneurial, developing a skill set which can keep you relevant in these time when more digitization is happening and so on and so forth. And those things, if you keep in mind as you restructure your life, personal private life, your work life, university life, or whatever you have to do, all those things are going to help you. So anyone else who wants to make some concluding. Okay, as you start this chapter, they talk about some of the reasons for restructuring. Why should we restructure? Yeah. So in our discussion, we were talking about coronavirus and so on. So the reason for this restructuring, as we said earlier, is that try to minimize the spread of the pandemic. It is going to spread, but it should not peak too much. Just flatten the curve. That is the target. That is the reason for different restructurings which are happening in Jamaica and across the globe. Yeah. But if you look at the chapter and you try to look at this, you will see some of the pointers which your book is mentioning, and this section is very important. Please make note of this. Yeah. Reasons for restructuring. Why should we restructure? So for example, the format of your final exam is going to change. It won't be essay type questions, so it would be short questions and multiple choice. And we will confirm this once UV has finalized, and I will post it on or really whatever is the structure. And I will also give you brief on that to help you prepare for the final as much as possible. But if it is a short question, we are looking at one possible short question can be what are some of the reasons which a company considers before they restructure, and they can link it with coronavirus, with COVID-19. So yeah, so I don't want to repeat myself. You can think about the discussion we had, and from that maybe take up some pointers and look at some of the pointers here. For example, they are talking about downsizing or right sizing. Yeah, please Google these terms if you don't really understand them. Essentially, the companies are trying to minimize their cost by having less and less people. That is what it is. But you don't want to let go your essential workers, people who are really critical to keep the process moving. So downsizing, look at this, trying to minimize the cost. Even in our discussion, some of the friends made this interesting point that when you are restructuring, you really have to think about the cost. Do you have the finance to support that restructure? Yeah, or not? So for example, UV is going online facilitation of classes. So if there are some people who do not have smart devices or phones or tablets or laptops, so UV is trying to maybe source some of those gadgets and then give it to those people, not permanently. I think they will make them borrow those gadgets, and then they will have to return. But do we have the finances to do that? If we don't have finances, how we can be innovative? Are there any companies which have these type of gadgets and we can rent it from them or something like that? Collaboration can happen or something like that. You can think about that. Effectiveness, we spoke about that. Decentralization, centralization, you guys gave some examples which go under this. So just Google these terms and try to think about that. uh, Hierarchy, some friend made this comment, if you are listening to the discussion, that companies are going to look at the hierarchy and see which workers are essential and which are non-essential and which one needs to come to work and which one can stay home and which have to stay on call and all those type of things. Yeah, so in restructuring you are thinking about that. Some friends mentioned the word strategy. That is a standalone course in itself. Yeah, so strategy, what is your strategy? You need to think about that. In other words, what is the objective? What are you trying to achieve from the restructuring? That is going to lead what type of strategy you create. And then do you have the people who will support that strategy? Do you have the finances? And not just only that, try to link it with other courses you guys have been doing. For example, organizational behavior. For example, human resource management. Do people have the motivation to really implement that strategy? Do they have that energy? Because everyone is going through this, for example, this crisis. So the people who will be working on that strategy, how much motivated they are, how much energy they have, what are the words they are using? Are they positive or they are trying to talk about the negative things? For example, we just did an exercise. What is one positive of coronavirus? The same thing you should do. Any bad thing happens in life, any bad thing. I'm sure people are going through various challenges right now as we speak. Yeah, or they will go in the future. So whenever that thing happens, always ask yourself, is there any positive from that? And almost in all instances you will find some positive. But let's say that you do not find any positive. That is okay. You do not find any positive. Something bad happens in your life and you say, Tashveen, there is no positive for this. This bad thing happened, there is no positive for this. This is everything is negative. Okay. One positive can be that you had that experience. So you went through that experience. Now next time when that thing happens in your life or in the life of your loved ones or people you care, or if you have to consult someone or guide someone, you can tell them because you learned something, some lesson from that experience. And you can link it with Italy and Spain, for example. Yeah. So whatever Jamaica is doing, lockdown and those things, we might not have been so serious if countries like Italy, countries like Spain, countries like even America were not going through these things. We are seeing what is happening in those countries, and because of that, we are trying to stay in the lockdown, social distancing, and so on and so forth. Because they paid the price, and we are learning from that price. So you can link that with strategy formulation and so on and so forth. Mergers and acquisitions, you can think about that. Product services, some friends mentioned that also in the discussion. Cultural change, yeah. The culture of the organization. What was the culture of the organization before the restructuring? That will be very important. Just like if you guys were listening, Brandon made a comment about family, that family would be would have more time to sit together and link and talk and all those type of things. But all of that is dependent on the culture that family had before pandemic. If there was some negativity or something, I don't know, but I'm just thinking and I'm thinking loud. Then maybe in this time, they might have more fights. We don't know right now what would happen, but definitely over the period of months, we will know that what is the psychological impact of staying at home. Because forget about families, many people live alone also across the world, in Europe, in Jamaica, everywhere. And I was reading this article that even in Europe, many people live in very small spaces. They have good jobs, but maybe because they are in a city in which the price of property is very high, so they cannot afford to have a bigger house, and then they are sharing. So what is the impact of that? What is the culture which was created before the pandemic, and now pandemic is there and they have to be there in a small space and share it? How they will restructure their jobs? Yeah, some things to think about. Yeah, so this section, as you open chapter number 5 again, look for reasons for restructuring, and in this list please include your own points which maybe were coming in your mind, or maybe you heard in this discussion. What are the real reasons for restructuring? So we had like around 1 hour of more than 1 hour of discussion on restructuring where I was taking your points. So from that, try to make some notes and try to have your own reasons for restructuring. And more importantly, try to have a list of some of the challenges which were mentioned in the discussion, and then try to think about some of the solutions. So what are some of the reasons, what are some of the challenges, how to minimize those challenges, something like that. Try to work on that. Yeah, so please read all of this fine print. This is interesting, the thing which you are seeing, the key beliefs of a machine metaphor. If you remember, you have these metaphors in the uh, in the in the previous chapters. Organization, how an organization work, does it work like machine, and so on and so forth. You can look into this highlighted section and link it with the earlier chapters. This I'm sure you guys are very familiar with this diagram by now. Unfreeze, move, refreeze, very simple diagram, but very critical to understand any aspect of change. So you need to first unfreeze, then you need to give some time to the process, to the new habits, before you refreeze. You have to be a little bit flexible. So for example, the curfew times. So earlier it was 8 p.m. I think. So you have to be in home by 8 p.m. and now it is 9 p.m. So let's say that police catch someone on the road and it is 9:01 or 9:02 or 3 minutes past 9. So how will police deal with them? They might not even stop them. They might even give them some time. So what is that? It should not. People should not do that. I'm not supporting that. Of course, you should be at home by 9 if that is the curfew time. But still, the police will understand that. A good policeman will understand that you have to give a little bit of time. Maybe something happened. It is just 2-3 minutes here or there. So give them that flexibility and understand the situation of the lockdown. This lockdown is not because of you are locking down some criminals or something like that. It is just the nature of lockdown is very different also. So understanding the nature and understanding why restructuring is happening, the policeman, even if it is 9, even if it is 10 minutes past 9 or 15 minutes past 9, I'm thinking a good policeman maybe stop someone and give them some warning and something like that, because they will understand that this is the nature of restructuring. They will understand. Yes, this formula is coming from previous chapter. Do you guys remember this? Please, if someone can say something. Anyone remembers this formula which you are seeing on screen? Please say something.
Yes,
Yes,
the
sir. That's
very
the
standard
formula for change.
formula.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so formula for change, very important again. Yeah, so please memorize this and try to incorporate this formula whenever you think that something is not happening right in the current environment in Jamaica or anywhere in the world where people are going through different I'm just thinking about, I saw some video clip. It was in Spain, and police was beating a guy and his mother, something like that, because they came out in the coronavirus and whatever. So yes, someone might think that that is not rational, or they should be treating those people because the mother was with the guy and so on a little nicely. But you have to understand the change formula and the nature of restructuring. You have to look at what is happening in Spain, how many people have died. So in that circumstances, maybe that type of approach some policeman will have to take. Yeah. But in our circumstances right now, where in Jamaica it's not too many people have died yet, police might not want to do that. But let's say that, God forbid, may it never happen, but if the debts are too much high and so on, then the government is going to become stricter and stricter and stricter. But the idea of restructuring is that, and this is where the catch is, you have to act fast. So now is the time to act fast instead of when the deaths go up. But then the governments have dilemma all over the world. They can enforce or be more strict with the people, but if they become more strict, the economy will collapse, people will not like it, and political administrators cannot afford that. Remember, in one of the discussions, we were talking about likability. So if I want to change you in some sense, I want to ensure that you like me somewhere. So if you like me, when I say that change, you will at least try. Or if you cannot change, you will at least try to explain me that, okay, this is the reason. So this is the dilemma for democracy, that people who want to come in next election, they want to keep in this mind that whatever they do, people still like them. Yeah, please think about this. Okay, as you are reading this, just below the formula, these 3-4 lines are, I think, are very important. So please read this. Important, the section which I have highlighted. Yeah, please read this. Important factors in any restructuring are threefold. So there are threefold important factors. What are those? First, the reason why are we restructuring, the timing of the restructuring, and the rationale for the restructure must be made very clear. This is very important, guys. 3 things you have to keep in mind in the restructure. Number 1, the reason, timing, rationale for the restructure must be made very clear. Second, the end goal or vision must be communicated in an appealing way. End goal. You can use stories in that sense also. Yeah, very important. So number 1, the reason, timing, rationale. Number 2, the end goal, vision must be communicated in a very appealing way. What is number 3? The whole exercise must appear doable by being well planned and well implemented. People should feel that they can do it. It is doable. People should not feel that this is not possible, they won't be able to do it. For example, if anyone feels that this online thing is not working for them, and they say, okay, I don't know how the final exam will be, and I might fail, and I did not score high in the coursework, I don't know what will happen. So in this restructuring, what will happen? They will drop the course, they will drop the semester, they will just take leave of absence, something like that. Yeah. So these 3 things I think please, again, I want to just spend some time on this because I think this is very important. The reason, timing, and rationale for the restructure, the end goal, and the vision, and number 3, it must appear doable. Yeah, please make note of that. There is this section, a generic approach. You can go through this in your own time. Strategic review and reason for change, why we should change, design option, risk assessment. If you think about it, in our discussion, we have gone through this, but we did not take these names. So try to link it with the discussion we had in the earlier part of today's session. This one, critical success factors for the local authority. I try to. They have posed some questions in this. Try to spend some time and try to answer those questions, of course, in your own time. Yeah, to see what you can gather from that. They have also explained these terms like in the design option, what are the things you can do, in the risk assessment, what are the things you should do. So try to read. It's not, nothing is hard. It's very simple. You just want to, whenever you are restructuring, that means you are changing. Whenever you are changing, you are breaking the status quo. You are implementing something new. Whenever you are trying something new, it is a possibility that things will go wrong. So let's try to think of some example. So just like right now, a while ago, something happened and I got disconnected. Yeah. Is everything working fine? Let me just, someone can say that everything is working fine and you guys can hear and everything. Someone can confirm that?
Yes, we're hearing.
Okay, very good. Thanks for
Yes,
that.
sir, we're hearing you.
Very good. Thanks for that. So, but remember what happened a while ago, like half an hour ago. Something happened and I just dropped from the system. Yeah, and then I came back. So think about the things you are going, the things which were going in your head. Maybe you thought that he's gone. Maybe you thought he will not come back. Maybe you are frustrated. Maybe whatever. Yeah. So things will, whenever you try to implement new things, something can go wrong even after taking care of all the precautions. For example, I'm not using Wi-Fi, I'm using Ethernet, I'm using the cable, the connection is very strong, uh, the laptop is fine, everything is fine on my end, but still I dropped from the live session. So these things will happen. So those are some of the risks. So how you could manage those risks whenever you are trying something new, whenever you are restructuring. So the idea of this risk assessment is that before you restructure, you just think it through and you say, what are some of the risks which you can face and how you can minimize those risks. Yeah, that is what it is about. But read the chapter, read this section, risk of, and this is a nice one, this highlighted section, risk of new structure. Yeah, so please spend some time. Some terms they are using, for example, synergies and so on. If you don't understand them, nothing to worry about, just Google them and try to understand. Essentially, synergy is that the sum of all the components is more than if you look at only one individual. So for example, if what the strategy we are using in our discussions since the semester started is of synergy. So it is not that only I am speaking and I am saying what I have to say. No, we are using synergy. So all of you who can, you are also participating in the discussion. You are also giving your opinion. So it is a win-win situation. You might learn something from me. You might learn something from your colleagues. And I am always learning something from you guys. Yeah. So this is the power of synergy. Yeah. and then they are talking about cost. So this section, this is important, risk of new structures. Yeah, so please go through that. Then you have table 5.1. This kind of have some of the advantages and limitations, advantages and disadvantages of organizational structure. They have given you in a nice format, so it is always good to go through these type of tables. So in your own time, I hope you can go through them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's mic is, I think, open. Please, please mute your mics. If anyone's mic is open, please mute it. Okay, this one next is risk inherent in managing change. And think about it, it is very simple. They are talking about management of change. They are talking about communication, how you communicate. They are talking about people, their motivation, all those type of things, synergies, and then roles, responsibilities, what they will be answerable to, all those type of things. So please think about that. Leadership is very important in restructuring, just like any type of change. The person who is leading the change, uh, the level of their confidence, that they can manage the restructure, that is very important. And of course, again and again they are mentioning cash flows and profitability. For example, here you will see leadership and strategy, you will see people, you will see profitability. So these are very important. As one of you mentioned, the financial part, that is the key. So link it with the earlier discussion, lockdown. Why not to have full lockdown, 100% lockdown? Because then the profitability will go down. How will people earn? So yes, we want to minimize the death, but we don't want to minimize the profitability. We want some flow of cash. Yeah. So some flow of finance.
Sir, what I realized is that because of the whole corona that's happening right now, the exchange rate has been impacted significantly. Where the if you're to compare the Jamaica to US exchange rate, it's lower in comparison to before the whole coronavirus pandemic started.
Very good, very good, very good. Thanks for that. And we did not touch on that aspect, that the things you learn in, demand and supply, uh, how that impacts the rate of exchange, the things you look at in economics. We did not really touch on that, and that is very important. Let me touch on that. Okay. So think about the prices of oil, for example. If you read the relevant stories, you will know that the price of oil has gone down because of some things happening between Saudi Arabia and Russia and the cartels who are managing the oil prices and so on. So that is also, you can link that with this discussion which our friend is mentioning. Yeah, so you look at these demand and supply type of things in your introductory econ classes. Yeah, how the exchange rate is fixed. So that impact throughout the world, yes. And then pricing of different commodities. For example, I mentioned oil because it is essential, like it is very important. Can you imagine that we don't have any oil in Jamaica? We lock down our borders and everything and there is no oil. What will happen? It will have impact on so many things. Yeah, so think about that. Good point. Okay, this section is, I think, extremely important. Communication is extremely important. How you, because think about it, I might know so many things. But if I am unable to communicate well with you guys, then it is of not much use. Only I will know in my head. And that is why I want to thank our friends, and all of us should be thankful for the friends who are sharing their thoughts, who are communicating with us. Because there are some friends who have great thoughts maybe, but they are not saying anything. And I'm sure right now there are many friends who have amazing thoughts, and they are thinking in their head that, oh, I have this thought, no one else mentioned, but they don't want to communicate. So what would happen to that thought? If it is not communicated, we cannot get the benefit of synergies, as I was talking about earlier. So communication, this section is very important. As you read this section, please pay close attention to this section, the highlighted section. Key questions in people's mind will be, so when you are going through restructure, you should always have a list of questions. Not this list per se, you can take benefit from this list, but you have to, because you understand the culture of your company, you understand what is happening, you understand the context, not this book, but you can take guidelines from these sections, these questions, and create your own list of questions. What are some of the questions when you will propose your restructure? What are some of the questions which can come to people's mind? And you try to anticipate them and prepare for their answers. So let's look at some of the questions which they have. What is the purpose of the restructure? People really want to know that. We have restructure. Why we have restructure? So you have received a lot of emails from UV about this new online and everything. So go back to those emails and look at that. You will very clearly, you will find that they will make you understand that this is the purpose. This is why we are going online. This is the reason. Yeah. How will it operate in practice? What will happen in practice? Yeah. So again, think about this online. In their emails, they try to explain as much as possible. But we did not know. We don't know even now what will. I don't know how it is going. I have no idea. I cannot see you guys. I cannot read your facial expression or your body language. At least in the class, I could see people smiling or nodding or sleeping or whatever they were doing. But now I cannot do that. So I really don't know how it is going. I might ask you later, what went wrong? What was the right things? What were the things which were not right? And then maybe build on that and so on and so forth. Same for you guys. Like some of the friends, they were not following the queue. They were like on number 7 in the queue, but they were opening their mics and they were saying something. But that is fine. That is how we learn. But at that time, you will see that what I saw, that the person who was on the top, when that person on number 7 or 8, they started speaking, the one on the top, he let the person speak. He turned off his mic. So that is interesting. Yeah. So you guys are helping each other also. So this is a good question. How will it operate in practice? But we cannot really know unless we go through that. Somehow I thought that not a lot of people ride motorcycles, but today I'm realizing a lot of people ride motorcycles, which is good. Who will be affected and how? Yeah, the stakeholders, the target audience. Yeah, that is very important. Who will be affected and how? Not just who, how. So who will be affected? People who don't have gadgets, who don't have smartphones and so on. How they will be affected? They won't be able to maybe come to live class. So what can we do for them? Maybe post something via Orwelly, maybe post some notes, maybe do something like that. Yeah. So I don't want to go through all the list. Yeah. So, but these I could have gone, but I decide not to go. But I want you to go through this list. Yeah. what happens to others, uh, what new behaviors be acquired. Yeah. So this example which I gave about number 7, the one on number 7 comes and starts speaking, and the one on the top, they don't say anything, they let the person speak. That is the new behavior maybe. But then the new behavior in going forward would be that let's not do it again, form a queue and just follow. Yeah. But that is fine, I'm just trying to create some example. Yeah. What will training and development be provided? Yeah, that is. So let me ask you guys over here, and please participate in this discussion. uh, do you think that UV gave you enough training to participate in this online environment, or you think that you are left on your own, you are learning on your own, you are not given any training or anything? Yes, go ahead guys. Yes,
No,
Matthew,
sir.
go ahead.
I'll leave.
Um, yeah, to be honest, well, personally, to be honest, I haven't really been looking at the instructions or the emails that they've sent out regarding online classes. So maybe it's my fault there, but I think that we're kind of left on our own to learn the online process in terms of interacting in class and using the different softwares. But at the same time, it's not hard. All of us are smart students. So, we're very capable with technology. So I feel like this platform is the best thing for us, for this generation, to be honest.
Great point, Matthew, and I totally agree with this. Like, look at the attendance. It is 62 in the class. It was like 30 people. Yeah. Next one, please.
For me, really, I think this is a great opportunity because it gives the opportunity for everyone to learn from the comfort of their own, which for me, I think it's very helpful. I prefer to learn from the comfort of my own, not being outside or in a formal setting. You're more comfortable and relaxed, and it makes learning easy.
What I think happens, sir, is that um, the school told persons if you're not an international student, that means you should go home. Students who have that have homes live in the deepest part of country that doesn't have Wi-Fi or has little Wi-Fi, and those students can be very much impacted when they're supposed to go on online classes and so forth, because there wouldn't have been um, the same level of comfort as persons who live in the Kingston St. Patrick area would have had, or persons living in the ghetto that also would be impacted by the Wi-Fi issue.
Okay, thanks for that. So uh, let's not talk about this. Let's just have a poll. So you don't have to speak on this because this is a simple question I was trying to ask. But thanks for the ones who commented. So what I'm asking is, were you given any training to use online forum by UV or not? So right now you can see a poll on your screen. Yeah, there is a poll on your screen. So you just have to say yes or no. So that's a simple question. So because we are talking about training, if you remember, so was training given or no training was given? That's a simple question. If it was given, yes. If it was not given, no. Yeah. Take that poll. So guys, you can see a poll on the screen right now. Were you given any training? Please take a moment to take that poll. It is anonymous. It's not going to show who said yes, who said no. It does not matter. We are not trying to say anything against UV or anything. We just want to understand training. Yeah, while training was given, training was not given. That's it. So roughly speaking, we are saying that half people are saying it was given, half people are saying it was not given, something like that. Yeah. So in that sense, what Matthew was saying, we are smart people, and it is not a rocket science. It is not very difficult. Yes, on day one maybe it can be a little challenging, but we just go around and see which buttons are for what, and over a period of time we will learn how to use it, and then it can be of very benefit. As he was saying that the new generation, they are all about this. They are going to benefit from this. Yeah. So there are some people who have not taken this poll yet. Please take the poll and look at this. This is a nice feature. You can, and there are many other features also which we have not explored yet. So you can take uh, these type of things. So roughly speaking, half people were given training, and so this will happen. Going back to chapter number 5, we are talking about communication, and we are talking about training. So it can be very hard for companies which are going through training, which are going through restructure, for them to really train everyone. It is not possible, no matter how much hard you try. So in that instance, if you have had the people working for you who are passionate about their job, who are interested, who are motivated, who are fired up, who wanted to complete the task on time, they will learn the skills, and they will train themselves if not the employer is training them. Yeah. So this aspect can be linked with human resource management also. Yeah. So again, so majority is saying no training, 28 are saying no training, 23 are saying yes. Yeah. But you can see that the people who said no, they were also able to participate in this. They knew which one to click, and they are working fine in this environment. Yes. Very interesting. Going back to chapter number 5. So go through this reading, and try to link with the discussion. Pay special attention to table 5.2 and 5.3. Let me show you where it is. 5.2, the individual and organizational short to long term impact of redundancy. Yeah. So you guys in your discussion, you gave some examples where people will lose jobs and stuff like that. So this is a nice table you can go through. Yeah. So for example, extra workload, decreased motivation, loyalty to job, yeah, increased self-reliance. Yeah. So right now you this increased self-reliance. We are relying on you to connect and do whatever you have to do. Look into this table, very important, table 5.3. Small table. It is talking about feelings. Feelings. Feelings are very important. When you will restructure, you will somehow impact the feelings of the people. So you want to ensure that they are not hurt, and they feel included. Inclusiveness, that is what you need to bring in the culture maybe. So look into this table. Okay, and then there are some models. We should talk about some of the models. So first one, dealing with redundancy, Noyer's model. Yeah. So please look into this one. This is important. Some mics are on. Please mute your mics. So in level 1, he says getting the implementation process right. How you are going to implement, get it right. This is what he's saying. But keep in mind this line. Look at this line which I have highlighted. Although this is just level 1, it is hard to get this one absolutely right. It is hard to get this one absolutely right. Implementation process. So for example, this implementation process of online. So on one hand, you need to get it right, implementation process, but you have to remember that it is hard to get this one absolutely right. So you can't just take forever to just do this first step and don't implement it. So university could take forever to just, you know, ensure that before they implement everything should be right. No, that is not possible. You have to, at some stage you have to implement. So they decided 4 weeks. So after 4 weeks you have to implement and then see what works and what does not work, and over a period of time you will learn. Yeah. So that was the first level. The second level, according to, so we are looking at this Noyer's model. Someone's mic is on and they are playing. I think it is lunch time for them. Please mute your mic. You can continue playing with the dish, but mute it. Yeah. So level 2, dealing with emotions. Yeah, that is very important. Dealing with emotions. So as you read this, dealing with emotion, pay attention to this. So as you are looking at emotion, pay attention to this. This level is about allowing time for expressions of feelings about situation plus implications for future and next steps for moving on. Yeah. So as you are looking at their emotional state, you need to allow time for expression of feelings, so you can take care of that. So expression of feelings, that is very important. So then the ability to listen. Yeah. And the ability to, for empathy, try to understand that, you know, there are some people who would say, oh, this online thing is not going well. So try to understand, try to take care of whatever points they make. You cannot make everyone happy, of course you cannot, but maximum people, maximum stakeholders should be, you should deal with their emotion in the right way. In the third level, Noer is talking about focusing on the future. Yeah. So please pay attention to focusing on the future. Remember, in the earlier part, we were talking about the goal and vision in the communication section. So this one, level 3, is talking about focusing on the future. And last 3 lines of focusing on the future, I think they are very important. These ones. Please make note of these. The more that individuals and teams can be involved in shaping the organization's future, the greater will be the engagement and commitment, and the greater the chances of success. So in doing whatever you are doing, no matter what restructuring you are doing, if you can gain some support from the people who will be affected, if you can take their feedback, and if you can incorporate some of that feedback, at least your chances of success are going to be very high. And you need to link it with previous class discussions also, when we were meeting in person. We have spoken about that in those meetings also. And then the level 4, that is the last level for Noer, embedding the change. Yeah. And for that, please look at these 4 bullet points. Creating structural systems, redefining the psychological contract, they are talking about new culture, and then they are talking about HR practices. Yeah. So number 1, creating structural systems. Number 2, psychological, you know, emotions, psychology, that type of thing. New culture, because after the restructure you will go in the new culture. And HR practices. Yeah. HR practices can be like, people are going through some mental stress. I'm doing fine, but I do realize that there must be some people in this room right now who are mentally, you know, going through. It's tough for them. So if you look at HR practices, For us at UV, it would be some type of counseling, some type of chats, some type of phone numbers where you can talk with people that, okay, I'm going through this psychological state, what I can do, and so on and so forth. So they will guide you on that. Yeah. So this is Noyer's model. Very interesting. Yeah. And this is the picture. Figure 5.3. Level 1, getting the process right. Level 2, dealing with the emotions. Level 3, focusing on the future. And then embedding the changes. That is what it is. Very simple, not hard. So try to implement this somewhere in the restructuring or in the coronavirus, what we are going through, or any other example. So number 1, getting the process right. Remember that you cannot get it 100% right. Dealing with emotions, feelings, focusing on the future, the vision, and the end where you will teach at some stage and embedding the changes. That was Noyer's model. So that was figure 5.3. Also look at figure 5.4. This one, make note of that. I think this is how we started our course. When we started our engagement, we said this is very important, understanding our own feelings, understanding feelings of others, clarifying the priority. You guys mentioned in the discussion the role of essential workers. Maybe that can fit over here. Clarifying and prioritizing future work, future direction. In our face-to-face conversation when we were meeting earlier in the semester, we spoke about future of work. We spoke about understanding how our own jobs will change over a period of time. Yeah, and then we had some discussion about team also, the difference between teams and groups. You might have done that in other courses also, the difference, what is a team, what is a group. You can Google that and see what that is and fix it over here in the fourth one. Then you have table 5.4. It's talking about team. Take some time to go through that. What is the team purpose? What is the team roles? Of course, it will change from different objectives you want to reach. You can link it with strategy maybe. You can also link it with the discussion we had in the class for cultural for leadership, because leader is the one who is taking care of the team and so on. But go through this table 5.4 also. And then of course the conclusion of any chapter is very important. So make sure that you read the conclusion. So after this table, you will have the conclusion, this one. So make note of that conclusion also. And here is the poll. We have a tie. So 25 people are saying that they were given the training, and 26 people are saying there was no training. Yeah, so that is what it is. So training, so it is not, it is, so if you just, and I am very high on this, when you are hiring, hire the people who are passionate about the job. Many times we don't do that. Many times we are looking at their resume and seeing what they have done in the past and their experience. And I'm not saying that is not important. Of course, it is very important. Experience is everything. If you ask me, it is very important. But there are some other things also, like their passion, the fire they have. Because when they are not given training and it is a little bit comparatively complex task, if they are passionate, they are going to learn the skill in their own time. They will ensure. And when the things will go bad, they will not get very frustrated. They will not lose their mind because they are interested. So when they are interested, they will do something for that. It is concept of restructuring, not necessarily for the final exam and so on. We will talk about that later. once things are more clear?
Sir, I think restructuring is one of the most important topics when it comes to managing change because just like any other topic in management of change, we see that there are different like things that have to be taken into consideration. Things like culture, strategy, things of that nature. And if you want that change to happen, restructuring is a good mechanism if you want to initiate change, whether in an organization or just in general life.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And thanks for that, Brandon. I think that is a good point, and we can conclude with this because as Brandon is telling us that whenever we are going through changes, one thing which we surely will have to do is restructuring.
I was saying you can leave.
Sorry,
I was
I
saying you
can leave.
can leave. Yes.
Thanks for letting me know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, take care, guys. Bye bye.